From a long-term perspective, like 5 or 10 years out, if Toronto keeps doing what Toronto does, GTA grows, London grows, how can people navigate buying now, not knowing what the future looks like?
New construction space in general, I think real estate is going to be a luxury purchase for a lot of people in the next 15, 25 years, to be honest with you. I think that that's where you're going to save a lot from a consumer perspective. And as long as you're in the real estate game, you can then upgrade.
So I think from a high level perspective, the decision that was made to increase the capital gains tax and eat the rich, essentially take that money and redistribute it as if that's the solution, is going to be very problematic from an investment perspective. I've already seen in the last 2 weeks a ton of companies looking to relocate to Texas and Florida. There's actually an investment banker I was with last week who said that there's coming to court Canadian companies to get their money out and bring it somewhere else. And it's unfortunate because I think the people that a lot of times create the small, medium, and large businesses are the ones providing employment. But at the end of the day, I also think you're going to see a massive reaction in the marketplace that is emotional, and people will fire sale properties and there'll be opportunities for buyers, and other people look at like, what does the 10 or 20 year trajectory of Canadian real estate look like? And I know we just came off the last podcast with Joe. If you're watching or listening to the replay, go to the YouTube channel, listen to the one that I did with Joe Falela, and we were talking about the landscape of the real estate market in general right now. And I think we're obviously looking to operate in a 6 to 12 month window, but we're planning for a 5 to 10 year window. And I think a lot of the guidance we're giving our clients is looking further at the 5 to 10 year window, less the day trading of real estate. Very dangerous, I think, when agents are promising people passive appreciation and building investment portfolios off markets that are passively appreciating instead of cash flowing assets and good business, because those are two different things. But I digress. After the last podcast with Joe, we ended talking about new development. I wanted to bring Kyle Henry on. He heads new development with me at Prime. We'd work on quite a few projects together to talk about the new construction market, because I think we're in a very odd spot right now where the resale market is in such a place that you're getting incredible deals on homes. Like this one I'm sitting in right now is 1.85 million for over 6,000 square feet on 2.55 acres. Like this house is a $2 million house all day long. But if you were looking to build this today, the cost to replace it, you couldn't replace it for the price we're selling it. So new builds homes ground to a halt last year because builders couldn't sell product because the math didn't work for what they paid for the land. That said, we're still selling. What is your 30,000 foot view right now of the new construction market? And then we'll get into what does the future of the new construction market look like?
So last year was really difficult because no one was building homes, and we were going off of where new homes were being sold and bought off of plans. And interest rates were so low, people were snagging them up. Now we're seeing it, especially last year, where spec homes or a model home or something tangible where people can walk through is where you're getting the sales done. And a lot of effort. It's taking you 15 times the amount of work to sell new construction than it did even 16 months ago. So that's where I think we're at right now. Where I think we're going in the future is, I don't think interest rates are going up. I don't want to say anything because I could be wrong, but I think people are getting more comfortable with interest rates. But I do think that no model home or no spec home or no...
You guys are fine. Just enjoy, hang, talk. Don't worry about any noise. It's just something we do. No, you're fine. Don't worry.
Please. Be comfortable for sure.
This isn't the Super Bowl. We're okay.
What's up, brother? I think that I think it's going to be an uphill battle, though, in new construction specifically, because it's just trickier. The price points, there may be some incentives offered and some deals to be had, but it's still going to be a tricky product for the first-time home buyer and even people looking to downsize. It's just tricky right now.
Well, if you're locking in an interest rate now, that's kind of the challenge too on the new construction front. And we were saying this during COVID times when people were locking in rates. The house wasn't built for 6 to 8 months, and then the market's shifted. And I think the other problem is we're in a housing crisis. We need more houses. It's nice seeing you. Thanks for coming. 30 to 40% of product got taken off the market and shelved altogether. So new projects where they would have bought 200 homes to a community, 300 homes to a community, 1,000 units to a community are just not happening. And the land that the builders did have, they're like, okay, I'm good with this land for the next 2 years. And they're plugging away at 2 or 3 houses a month versus 10 to 17 a month. trying to keep their trades guys busy. And you're also seeing a trickle-down effect where the trades guys, you couldn't get them to do anything at your house during peak times because they were so busy with builders. Now they're knocking on people's doors looking for work, and the pendulum's starting to swing the other way.
Yeah.
But inflation and hard costs haven't come down yet. And I think they're having a hard time competing with resale. But the ones that are finding success are the ones, like you said, Kyle, that are willing to find the deal for the people that are looking to build, right? Where if they're looking for a specific type of home and a specific type of budget, you're almost working with the mortgage broker, the agent, and the builder to see what incentives can pencil out. Because I think the problem with newer construction homes in the long run is because so much supply is being taken off today, in 5 or 10 years, the machine that it's going to take to get that supply back online when interest rates level out and the markets start ripping again, buying or building new will be a luxury at best. It'll
100%.
be so competitive, and it'll be a really tough spot for people to be in.
I agree, and I think that goes beyond the new construction space in general. I think real estate is going to be a luxury purchase for a lot of people in the next 15, 25 years, to be honest with you.
Yeah, and you can see the writing on the wall in terms of
Sure.
setting expectations that renting is kind of the new norm, right?
Sure.
Home ownership is out of reach, and the messaging that they're giving us is trying to drive people to that's where it's going. And at the same time, you're seeing corporations and you're seeing government bodies buying up real estate. Blackstone, I think they dropped $15 billion into a fund acquiring multifamily real estate again too. And if you look at where all the cap rates and the prices have gone, we can't buy those places, right? The average investor can't buy and can't compete at the level of a Blackstone. But now the government bodies, the corporations are now corporatizing what used to be something that the average investor can get in. And I think they're driving it further away from a city policy perspective too. I know they want to build more homes. I'm glad that they're talking about it, but I've yet to see it have a major effect on the actual marketplace in terms of seeing the projects coming back online.
Well, I think that's changing. We're seeing a big push from the current government into housing. Massive push right now. In Central Elgin and St. Thomas just had a big win yesterday or 2 days ago, where the old hospital that when you're driving on Sunset towards Port Stanley, that big parcel of land was just acquired by the city for housing specifically. So that's a massive push for the city of St. Thomas. And
thank you for coming. You have my email, so if you have any questions. Okay,
thanks,
nice
guys.
to meet you guys.
So with that big parcel of land, even just staying close to home, that's going to bring a ton of housing to our local area.
And so let's go back to what we were just talking about, right? So if new build projects come offline, the resale market takes a hit as it had in a couple of years, houses become affordable again, but interest rates go up. People can't buy those same homes even though the prices have gone down. Interest rates stabilize. We live in a world where it's 4 to 7% rates. Let's just say 5%, just for argument's sake. People adjust their lifestyles to get into a position where they can now afford to purchase the homes that they want to. If they can't buy primary markets, they are moving to secondary and tertiary markets. The world doesn't revolve around Toronto and Vancouver, although the media likes to make us think it does. They're looking at where their options are, and they'll move to markets that nobody would have moved to. Like when I moved to London in the early 2000s, my parents thought I moved to Thailand. Like what do you mean London, right? And even in 2013 and 2015, we were working with investors saying invest in London. Nobody wanted to, right? They were like, well, it's the middle of nowhere. We want to invest in the big, shiny, bright markets. And then by 2017, everybody wanted to invest here. It got unhealthy with 0% interest rates plus printing 40% more money into the supply chain. And I think that's why we are where we are today. But now let's think about what you just said. We're in a rental crisis because people can't buy homes. The cities start buying up old hospitals, converting them to rental units. They're getting in the real estate business, which if they believe in it, there must be a reason why. They're going to alleviate that pressure. Rates stabilize. What happens to the housing market? Those people that were renters, it'll take pressure off the rental market. Rental rates will stabilize. And we've seen fluctuations. Like Kyle owns a property management company, for those that don't know. How many fluctuations have you seen in the rental cycles where all of a sudden there's no renters, right? It's not like it's 24/7, right?
Totally, 100%. It's just like the housing market in the sense that like you can't put up a rental and it's just going to rent. You have to put in the work. Same with new construction.
Yeah, and I would going back to the initial inception of this conversation, like Landings Port Stanley was a great case study.
That's great.
People saw a bunch of sales that we put on the board in Q1 of this year, rolling into Q2. We only have 5 units left there. This isn't a pitch, maybe a little bit of a pitch. But that took 8 months of work. That took us making hundreds of phone calls, email blasts, events, open houses.
Weekly open houses.
Follow backs. And I think that's just the state of affairs of where we're going and setting expectations for people, both in the real estate sales industry, but also from a consumer perspective of like, yeah, this is okay. It's normal if a house sits on the market for a month or two. It's a very normal, healthy market. It's not a healthy market when a house sits on the market for 1 hour and gets double-ended for $150,000 over asking price, right?
Yeah, totally. And I don't want it to sound like doom and gloom in new construction, because new construction is starting to pop again, which is really good. Landings is a really good case study where if you're willing to put the work in and you've got a good partner who can give you a model house to work out of, that product will sell off the plan or off the model.
And Mike and the team have been really good at working to do creative deal finding where, you know, we haven't had to reduce the prices of the units. Like we've seen other build sites where they'll sell a new home to somebody for X price, drop the prices $100,000, now making that person's house worth less. He's actually protected his pricing. But it goes back to what I said, where new construction now is an opportunity for people to get into something that maybe in 5 years they may not be able to because of the lack of product out there and new projects that will come online. And even the new sites we're launching, we have a number of new projects that we're rolling out in the next couple of months. We've set expectations with the builders on our approach. Like, agents will promise the world to builders and be like, oh yeah, for sure, we'll do this, we'll do that. You get deals flying left, right, and center. And you're like, no, this is gonna be a lot of hard work, and the energy and the effort we're putting in now is to earn the relationship in a year so that you know you have somebody that's actually working towards the same goal as you. But it does take work, right?
Yeah, 100%. I think what we'll see in the future of new construction is like the gentleman from Kelowna when we did a mastermind that winter mastermind. We'll see smaller units and more volume, just to help people get into the market, get that home ownership at a lower price point that still makes sense. And now you're able to play the game of real estate. Now you're in the market and you're not forced to rent or whatever the case may be. So I think that's where the future of new construction goes. I don't think, you know, these massive subdivisions with 4,000 square foot houses, I don't think that's the future. I think it's going to be a mix and blend.
And bedroom communities are just thriving, right? Like the Port Stanleys, and we think about the Lukens. Like even satellite communities within cities, like Lambeth, for example, you can see people going to a specific area for culture, community. You want to be around friends that have kids that your kids are going to play with. Like, people are thinking beyond, I just want a really nice house. They're like, well, my parents live near me, and can they babysit the kids? And my best friend live near me, and like, are we living in community together? Which, again, I don't want to be doom and gloom either. It's nice to hear from like the headline perspective what's happening, but acting in the micro, I'm actually super optimistic about our communities realizing that we do have to stick together. We thrive because of each other and because of community. And this whole last couple of years we went through, I think, is pushing people back to that, wanting to get in community with people. And that includes buyers, sellers, builders, agents, mortgage brokers, business owners, pretty much everybody you can imagine, right?
And we're seeing that, especially with the creative deal aspect, right? It's not so much, hey, this is the price and you're either in line or you're out of the line. Well, let's make this work for everybody.
I was totally going to sound like an ad for Landings Port Stanley, but thinking again about that site, we were talking about it, the demographic there are buying into a community. There's the pool, there's the clubhouse, and when you meet them at the open houses, it's pretty cool to see they're a similar demographic that are downsizing from, say, the 2,500 or 3,000 square foot home in London. They don't need it anymore. Kids have moved out. They're retired. They kind of want a pool. They want a beach life. And like, there's this little community that's formed within the subdivision that comes with a group of friends when they buy in there, right?
We're seeing that. We saw, I can think of one person who came from Milton who bought in that development and knew nobody, literally nobody, and now everyone knows her. They go to coffee shops at Harbor Merchant. It's the best. Yeah,
that's pretty cool to see too. So from a long-term perspective, like 5 or 10 years out, if Toronto keeps doing what Toronto does, GTA grows, London grows, how can people navigate buying now, not knowing what the future looks like? If you're a brand new consumer, you've never bought new, how would you recommend that they find success?
Well, I think Joe touched on it in your previous podcast where your first purchase, or if you're getting into real estate, it doesn't have to be your dream home right out of the gate. You can start small. There's a lot of affordable new construction right now. If you're looking at townhouses, or there's a lot of options. So getting in is just the biggest thing. Picking some finishes that maybe look luxury, but you're not breaking the bank. I think that's where you're going to save a lot from a consumer perspective. And as long as you're in the real estate game, you can then upgrade. But if you're thinking, hey, I'm going to get in there, I'm going to build new, and it's going to be something like this right out of the gate, you may not see that, and you're going to get discouraged, and it'll be a landslide effect.
Yeah, I also think you saying that, like, the beams are absolutely gorgeous in this house, and the comparables for this house, that is going to bring a direct value because there's another house probably priced in a similar, like, same vibe and feel. But it actually, Landings has beams. But if I'm doing upgrades to a home where there's no direct comparable to the upgrade you're doing, that's where, like, kitchens and bathrooms are undefeated, right? Yeah. Kitchens and primary bathrooms are for sure undefeated, and the kitchens, primary bathrooms, and closets will sell 95% of homes. Yeah. I think what you're talking about is if you're doing upgrades for yourself, understand the difference between that and maybe a capital investment in a property that you're going to sell in 5 years.
That's right. Exactly. Yeah.
And then switching to, say, the investment or the rental market.
Sure.
Investors are terrified. Laws in Ontario when it comes to tenants, I'm going to buy this building, all the tenants are going to stop paying me.
Yep.
Like, you're in the property management business. What are you actually seeing when it comes to investments and owning buildings?
We're not seeing a lot of defaults on rents at the moment. At least we're not.
Yeah.
But it's a possibility. It's definitely. We just did a video on this actually a couple weeks ago where, evictions are a part of the game where life circumstances happen. People sometimes are down and you may not get paid. But we find a lot of the time that if we're working with people, we'll be able to course correct versus, just issuing paperwork and going through the motions right out of the gate.
Because you probably don't actually want to evict people if you don't have to, right?
It's a huge expense to the landlord. Yeah. Plus, it's, it becomes a salty situation between the tenant. They may not want to pay moving forward until their hearing happens.
Sure. And the hearing can take forever to actually happen, right?
8 to 10 months probably, if you're lucky.
So what does that look like if you have a tenant that's in a dire strait? You can kind of sense things are going on. Do you reach out? Should the tenant reach out? What does that look like?
Well, it's always great if the tenant's a little bit proactive, but I don't want to speak about our company and our systems. We automate and we have communication directly, but it's immediate communication to figure out what's going on instead of letting it slide. Kind of like your video, right? Like, it's a difficult conversation, you might as well get in front of it.
Yeah, Eat the Frog's a great book. I'd recommend everybody reads the conversation that you're avoiding. And usually you find a solution, because same thing, we dealt with a lot of bank sales, going off topic now, over the last couple of years, where banks didn't even want to take properties back. Like, before, second lenders would take a property back in a heartbeat because they had enough equity in it that, sure, I'll take the house back and then put it back on the market. And we never did a lot of that business because I didn't like how it felt.
Yeah.
But then we started getting calls from B lenders and A lenders saying, hey, we're going to have to take this house back, but we don't want it. Like, we don't want this on the market for 6 months, and get creative with the sellers to find a way. So I think that covers both the residential and the investment market. So
yeah, for sure. And last year was difficult because rising interest rates were, you couldn't predict it. You didn't know where the top was going to be, so it was really difficult for sales to happen. But now they've leveled off and they've plateaued. So I think that it's leveling out in the terms of activity and people are buying again. Yeah. But you have to be priced accurately, whether it's an investment and especially if it's new construction. If it's new construction, you need to be priced accurately or else it is going to sit for sure.
So 2 more questions and then I'll let you go here. One is for consumers. So if consumers are calling around on new build sites, what questions should they be asking to be well informed?
New build sites?
Yeah.
So a little bit of a long list here. Appliance packages, upgrade packages, timelines are big. Estimated contractor timelines, because we saw in pushbacks, which can really hurt qualifications. We saw that a little bit. And then you want to talk about the design team as well. That's really important, is knowing your numbers before you have to firm up, because there is that 10-day period. And if you have a conditional period, it could be longer as well. But you want to know your hard costs before you have to firm up, because upgrade lists can get out of control quickly because you're like, I want this, I want that. That looks really nice in my house. So before you make any decisions, that's important. And then, to be honest with you, a bio and a background on the builder. You want to know who you're partnering with and what that service looks like after the transaction is really important.
And if they're like looking at all these salespeople and all these different sites, everyone's trying to sell them something. How can they know who to trust when it comes to purchasing a new home?
Trust me. That's tricky because it depends on who you partner with, right? I'm never going to speak bad about somebody or some company or whatever the case may be, but you want to know that your questions are getting answers and that
Sure.
they're to your satisfaction, right? A great thing would be give me a list of customers that you've serviced in the past. Maybe I can reach out to them and
Yeah.
see how that service has been firsthand. Because just like social media, Google reviews are highlight reels sometimes,
Sure.
right? So hearing it firsthand is really important. But yeah, that's case by case for sure.
Well, and I think you nailed it. Like the last question I was going to ask is more on the agent side of like, how can you service people and earn their trust?
Yeah.
I think promptness is key, right? If
Totally.
they ask you something, actually getting back to them with those documents. I have one person in mind that before I leave here today, I'm going to send them it right away. Because if
Yeah.
I wait till I get home, maybe I get caught up with my wife and daughter, and then all of a
Totally.
sudden I forget and it's Monday. And I'm like, there's an indication of how I treat people.
Yeah.
Right? So in terms of speed to lead for people that are in the actual sales business, how important is that?
So it's critical. I was nodding my head when Joe was talking about the 1 hour.
Yeah.
The 1 hour rule. I've talked to you about this before. I have a 1 in 24 rule where it's first hour a lead comes in, they're getting touched, a call by me, and whatever they're asking, I'll follow up with you in 24 hours.
If you're in the office with Kyle, it's actually a call, text, and an email all instantaneously.
I call it zone coverage. I play zone coverage.
I think that's I also think that's also a massive lesson because I don't want to be interrupted in my day quite often.
Yeah.
So like if somebody calls me, my favorite thing is when they text me right away and tell me why they're calling me. And then sometimes I'll pull over and be like, actually, yeah, I can deal with this right now. A lot of times I'm like, I'm just in the middle of something, I can't get to it, and then I forget. And they feel bad feeling like, oh, I got to text them or I got to email them, so they don't bother.
Yeah.
Right? When in reality, I think you're just giving people the ability to be communicated with the way they want to be communicated with.
Well, that's the key. I love to cold call.
Yeah.
And some people don't like to be on the other end of a cold call, right?
Yeah, for sure.
A lot of people. So doing the zone coverage allows them to pick how they want to be serviced, and we'll just go with that. We'll follow suit.
My favorite are the Facebook leads. They're like, why are you calling me? Like, you filled out the form.
I
Don't
love
call me again. They just hang up
Facebook
on you.
leads. I love Facebook leads.
Awesome. I appreciate you, Kyle. We'll catch you on the next one. Thanks for being here.
Thanks, buddy.